Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Brakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And the time of Jacob's trouble is going to be when Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is going to judge the people on this planet for all the wickedness they've been committing and take them out in mass numbers. As it says, this is going to be a time like none other. Any horrific event in human history that you can think of won't be able to hold a candle to Jacob's trouble. The days and flood of Noah, the transatlantic slave trade, 70 AD, World War I, World War II, etc., etc. Famines, pestilences, civil unrest, martial law, world war, nuclear destruction are some of the things that you wicked people have to look forward to during Jacob's trouble. And as it says in Daniel chapter 12, even the archangel Michael is going to have to get involved to help the elect of the nation of Israel through these terrible times of Jacob's trouble. And in this video, I'll be going through an article on endoftheamericandream.com titled "The Shortages Are Coming," just to further show just how bad these times of Jacob's trouble are truly going to be. And I've been doing a lot of videos lately on the food shortages that are coming and going into a little bit of the diesel shortage situation that's been talked about. But as we'll see in this article, a whole nother issue with shortages that people are going to have to face is shortages on medication, infection medication, painkiller medication, neurological disorder medication, etc., etc. And that's just going to open up a whole nother can of worms during Jacob's trouble, because people are already going to be facing food shortages and famines, and that's going to have them on edge and in an animalistic state, ready to do whatever they can to save themselves as well as their loved ones, but then just add in a whole new factor of a medication shortage. You can't get a medication for your children who are sick. You can't get medication for any physical pain you may be feeling, or if you have neurological disorders, ADHD, schizophrenia, or anything like that. You're just going to be hungry and bugged out and just ready to lash out at anybody. And then besides medications that people actually need, you've got a lot of people in the U.S. that are drug addicts and pill poppers, and that use that just to get high or just to get by. So once they can't get their fix, they're going to be in a state of disarray and chaos as well. We can truly see that the Most High is brewing a perfect storm during Jacob's trouble. Do you remember in early 2020 when they told us that the shortages that we were experiencing would just be temporary? Of course, some of them were, but then more shortages just kept on erupting. That wasn't supposed to happen. And now it appears that our supply chain problems could potentially get a whole lot worse, and they will. In just a few short months, we will be 3 years away from the beginning of the situation in the United States. But instead of a return to normal, more shortages are on the way, and in some cases, they could even be life-threatening. Let me give you an example. We need amoxicillin to treat some of the most common infections that our children experience. Unfortunately, the FDA is warning us that we are now facing a very serious shortage of amoxicillin. Ear infections and strep throat, both are common childhood illnesses for which the go-to prescription is in short supply, according to a recent nationwide alert from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The warning specifically involves the powder which pharmacists use to mix liquid amoxicillin for childhood infections. This is a really big deal. According to one recent survey, close to 2/3 of all pharmacies in the nation are having difficulty getting amoxicillin right now, and the national shortage of Adderall is even worse. Nearly 66% of pharmacies are having challenges obtaining amoxicillin, according to a new National Community Pharmacists Association NCPA survey of 8,000 pharmacy owners and managers, whereas 89% are realizing a shortage of Adderall. Of course, we are dealing with lots of other drug shortages at this moment as well. In fact, according to the official FDA drug shortage list, there are nationwide shortages of a whopping 183 different drugs in the United States right now. And you can go to this list and see that, hey, it's a lot of stuff out there that are in having shortages right now. And I didn't go through all 183, so I couldn't tell you what the majority of those drugs that are experiencing shortages right now are. But if you go to this list and look into it for yourself, I bet it's a lot of very serious things that people need to just function and get by. And again, like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of these people out here take drugs for neurological disorders. So imagine when they can't get that, they're going to be bugged out zombies out here, psychopathic killers. We truly are in unprecedented territory. Up in Canada, things are even worse. If you can believe it, at this point, the Canadians are facing an acute shortage of basic painkillers. That's another thing that's going to have people bugging out. People that actually need painkillers to help with physical ailments they're going through. And then drug addicts out here who like to get high off of painkillers like oxycodone or Vicodin. Hey, they can't get that fix. Hey, so they're going to be doing whatever they can out here to try to find it. And it's going to mean going through a lot of people. And then again, add on that, food shortages out here. The Canadian healthcare system is experiencing an acute shortage of basic painkillers, particularly acetaminophen and ibuprofen, which are commonly used to relieve pain and fever in children during flu season. Canada's Association of Medical Assistants in Dying Assessors and Providers, CAMAP, chose this perhaps awkward moment to roll out a webinar for healthcare professionals that advise them to offer assistance to their suffering patients. So why don't the Canadians have enough acetaminophen and ibuprofen right now? Well, we are being told that the primary reason is a lack of raw ingredients to make the drugs. CBC News quoted health officials who blamed a lack of raw ingredients to make the drugs, an uptick in respiratory viruses fueled by the relaxed Chinese, that word, we can't say it because of YouTube's algorithms, the corona measures, and panic buying for the shortage of painkillers for children. As I have covered in previous articles, most of the basic ingredients that are in our pharmaceutical drugs come from China. So if you think that things are bad now, just wait until war with China erupts. Once that happens, our pharmacies will get really empty and our entire healthcare system will experience a historic meltdown. Switching gears, with Thanksgiving coming up, I wanted to talk about the fact that we are now facing a nationwide shortage of turkeys. As CNBC reports, the price of turkey is up 73% from last year, a pretty astonishing figure. Experts attribute it to the bird flu, which has devastated turkey stocks this year. Apparently, Disease normally doesn't flourish during the summer as farmers get their holiday flocks together. But you know, the 2020s haven't been easy, so naturally, the flu hit hard right in the middle of the year when it could do the most damage. The good news, if you want to call it that, is that you will still probably be able to get a turkey if you are willing to pay enough. The bad news is that supplies of turkey just keep getting tighter and tighter. One business owner in San Francisco recently stated that it is like pulling teeth trying to get turkeys from the companies at this stage. But it's not just the Thanksgiving bird that's at risk. It's your lunchtime turkey sandwich too. San Francisco delis and butchers are already feeling the effects of the shortage. It's like pulling teeth trying to get turkeys from the companies, said Saul Kadunda, owner of Aguelo Market, a San Francisco cult favorite for its world-famous turkey sandwich. Unfortunately, we are also facing a shortage of butter in the weeks ahead. The USDA is urging consumers not to panic buy butter so that there will be enough to go around for everyone. Butter is another area where the war and cost of dairy products has affected supply, as the price of the condiment and baking ingredient has gone up $1 per pound since January of this year per eater. Fearing a full-blown butter shortage, the USDA has asked consumers not to rush or panic buy, but simply secure what they need at a given time per Best Life. Did you ever imagine that we would be talking about a butter shortage in late 2022? Things just keep getting crazier and crazier, and they're only going to continue to get crazier and more detrimental out here. Remember, we're coming into the times of Jacob's trouble, where as it said back in Jeremiah 30 verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. That's it with this article. Now I'm going to close it out in 2 Esdras chapter 6 in the Apocrypha. I'm going to read verses 22 to 24. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. It's talking about these different croplands out here where farmers sow their crops in. And we've seen that a lot of farmers haven't been able to sow or plant a sufficient amount of crops or reap a sufficient amount of crops in their croplands due to adverse weather events like major droughts or floods, and also high diesel prices keeping them from planting the amount of crops they want to plant. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Empty store shelves at your Walmarts, your Krogers, Rouses, Publix, any place you get your goods from, not just of food, but as we just read in that article, shortages on medications, pharmacies not being able to keep their shelves stocked with a sufficient amount of medication for people. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. And what are some things that could cause so-called best friends, even loving family members, to fight one against another like enemies? Food shortages for one, because when your stomach's touching your back or you're having to watch your loved ones starve, you're willing to do anything. And now with shortages of medications coming to where you can't get painkillers or medications to treat your neurological disorders, or you can't even get medication to treat infections for your children, you're willing to do anything and fight anyone to get it, to save yourself or your loved ones. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong, as we can clearly see all hell's about to break loose, and we're about to be out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the biblical Edomites. So as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.